Kia ora and welcome everybody. My name is Edi Rakanui and this is Big Life Mindset, a podcast where you learn how to live a life you love so you love life more. This podcast is in the top 10% most shared worldwide on Spotify. I've coached winners of the Westpac Bank Innovation Award and I also live a life that I absolutely love. Today, you're going to hear about my experiences over the weekend and some of the amazing people that we are sharing this planet with. You're also going to hear about a 40th birthday that I attended that was just amazing, absolutely amazing. If you want to live a life you love, then click the link at the top of the show notes to book in some time with me. For now, let's get into it. So over the weekend, we had a friend's 40th birthday to attend to. His name is John Ross. We'll all call him Ross for a whole other story that is going to take another episode, to be fair, to actually get into. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the getting to Ross's birthday, what it took for me to get there, and just the experience that we had there as well. So Ross has had his wife Anna. She organised a birthday party, and it was going to be over in a place called Martinborough, which is about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 3/4 drive away from where we all live. Given that it was that distance, and I haven't actually done it before, I thought I would hitchhike over there and get to meet some cool people along the way. But I also wanted to go to a place called Lake Ferry. Now, if you're familiar with the area, great. And if you're not, Lake Ferry is on the other side of the Ramataka Hills, but it's also kind of out on a dog leg as well. So if you're going there, you're really going there to go to Lake Ferry. It's one of those destinations. I had made plans to get myself there, and then one of the brothers, Andrew Duncan, had actually offered to come and pick me up if I got stuck there, which is cool, because it gives you the comfort and the confidence of knowing that, no matter what, somebody's going to come and pick me up in case I can't get to this party. I leave pretty late on Friday morning, later than I should have, and Debbie very thankfully gives me a ride down to the bottom of Ngauranga Gorge, where I'm armed with my hut sign. And the reason I've got a sign that says the hut is essentially once you're going in that direction, you just need to follow your nose, but it's getting into that direction that's kind of the hard part from where I was. I'm down at the bottom of Ngauranga Gorge for about, let's say 10 minutes, maybe at the most. And I can tell that it's actually going to be a little bit harder than I expected to get out of there, because the traffic that is going out and turning in the direction that I want it to go is going quite fast. And when you're in a car, you don't even notice how fast you're going. But when you're standing on the side of the road trying to wave people down or trying to catch somebody's attention so that they stop, that's when you notice how fast cars are going. So I'm just moving around a little bit, trying to find the optimum spot, and then I make eye contact with one of the guys who's driving, and he actually is driving 2 lanes over, so he has to do a little bit of work to get to me. Pulls a car over, and I run over, and I'm like, sweet, this is awesome. This is going to be the one that breaks the ice. When I open the door, now I'm going to change the names of a couple of the drivers here, for quite obvious reasons. So when I get in this car, the guy, will call him Callum. Callum is very clearly still going from the night before. Callum's had a big night. I look at Callum and I think, okay, he's obviously had a few drinks. What gives it away as well, he's got a can of Tui, like a RTD, in the car that's open. And I look at him and I think, how pissed is this guy? And inside, I reckon about 2.5 seconds, I've made this assessment that actually, given the maneuver he did, and he looks like, he could hold it together, all right, this should be safe enough, right? Now, I'm not recommending that anybody else do this. Like, don't get into a car with somebody that's been drinking alcohol. That's your life to live. This is mine. I won't lecture you. You don't need to lecture me. So I get in the car and, we start talking, and he's going to a place called Petone. Now, Petone it's actually the worst of the stops that I could get going into the hut direction, because when you're in Petone, it takes you off the motorway. And really, an optimum drive for me, like the first drive would have been from Ngauringa Gorge to Upper Hutt. That being the first leg, that's like the most difficult leg, or one of two most difficult legs. It's not one of three. Anyway, so I'm in there with Callum, and then we're driving down the road, and I'm like, "Oh, bro, what's the story? Where are you going to?" And he's telling me about how he's going to Petone, and because he is organised to get. Well, he's getting laid. That's what Callum's off to. Callum has got a booty call in Petone, and he's teed that up, and so he is on this man is driving with a purpose. So we have a bit of a laugh, all the rest, and we get to Petone, and I know it's like in terms of being a hitchhiker, you don't want to be in the Petone side of the motorway because all the traffic's not expecting to pick up somebody who's going through to Upper Hutt. It's all going to be short drive traffic kind of thing, short trips. But I'll take it, man. Anything in that direction, right? It's 1 minute closer to my direction. Is 1 minute closer to my goal. Cool. This is all good. So I get out, I wave Callum farewell, and I wish him luck in his endeavours. And then I start walking, and where I am, there's not a lot of people that are going to be prepared to stop and pick up a hitchhiker, simply because there's no real reason for a hitchhiker to be there. I'm on the old Hutt Road. I think it's called the Hutt Road, and so I'm just walking down. I'm kind of taking my time as well. I've got pretty much a whole day to do the trip, and for me, there's only two real parts to it. One is to get to Lake Ferry, and the other one is to actually get to the party in Longbush. So I'm walking down the Hutt Road, and then I come across this dairy that I haven't seen in quite a long time. And this dairy it has a memory, it's a milestone memory, a core memory for me, because years ago when I was a water boy, and I've told this story before, but years ago when I was a water boy, literally going around cleaning water coolers and filling up the bottles and that kind of thing, I was working, and then I stopped into that dairy. A dairy is a Kiwi slang for a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven, but tiny. And I stop at this shop for a pie and lunch, and I come out, and I'm sitting in the van, and I, sitting there happily munching on my pie when the owner comes out, and he's banging on the window, and I get out, and I'm like, what's going on? And then he's pointing down the road, like, that guy has robbed me. And I'm like, who, that guy? And there's a guy running away from the scene. And so, because I'd watched way too many movies, I just start running and chasing after this dude down the street. And it's a main road too. So there's lots of cars, lots of traffic in both directions, like weaving in and out of the traffic, like off the movies, It's like, this is actual movie shit. And as I'm chasing him, he's got this big-ass butcher knife, and then he throws it over the fence, and then I chase him down this cul-de-sac, this dead-end street, and I bail him up into this caravan, and I'm like, get out, all the rest, that kind of thing. And then the cops turn up with the dogs eventually, and yeah, that's one of my stories of catching an armed robber. I don't think it's the only one I've got either. No. Anyhow, the moral of that story is don't muck around when daddy's in town. Anyway, so yeah, I walk past that dairy, and it sparks those memories, and that's pretty cool. I walk up to there's a lot of roadworks. I'm really trying to find the optimum place, but I'm still kind of meandering in the direction that I want to go, because each footstep closer, man, it's just like one less to my destination. But then I'm stuck on Hutt Road outside the Shell service station, Z, whatever, and I just can't quite catch a break there. And then I see down the street this green car, and it's a very distinctive green car. And as soon as I see it, I'm like, I know one of three people that are going to be driving that car, because it's a car from a group of friends that I have, owned by Super Loans. So a company down in Wellington and Porirua and the Hutt, and in Napier. Hastings, man, that was a plug. Hey, Super Loans, hook me up with something, man. Anyhow, I see the car coming close, and the driver and I clock each other, like see each other's eyes, and it's Jo. Jo's one of the ladies who works there, and Man, she's such a beautiful person. Like you just will not meet just a more beautiful person. I kid you not. It's so cool. So Joe picks me up, and yeah, man, she gets me past that bit because there's often like a hump where you just when you're hitchhiking, you just can't quite get out of a place, and then all it takes is one ride, even if it's only 30 seconds up the road. Like it just puts you in a different environment, different context, and all the rest. And so that's what I needed. So she drives me up to Lower Hutt, which is probably only about 5 minutes up the road to her office. And I get out and then I walk over to the Melling Bridge. And when I get there, the Melling Bridge, there's a big roundabout, and then you get over the bridge and you're back on the motorway. Now it's in New Zealand, motorways are real random in that you can have like a state highway and then all of a sudden out of nowhere there's traffic lights on it, which to me makes no sense. But thankfully there are traffic lights at this place because what that means is I can do a kind of a shitty thing if I'm perfectly honest. I'm making my problem everybody else's problem. And the way I do that is because I need to slow the traffic right down from 100 kilometers an hour down to stopping. I go and push the lights. I push the pedestrian crossing lights. But hey, the pedestrian crossing lights are there for a reason, right? I don't know. Maybe it was designed to help people get picked up if they're hitchhiking. So I'm pushing the lights, stopping the traffic. But still, I can't catch a break there. And I'm there for maybe, let's say 10 or 15 minutes, which doesn't seem like a long time, but I've had so many experiences where I'll be hitchhiking for 30 seconds or bang, someone picks me up, or like, no shit, I've been hitchhiking where I've been dropped off and I've gone to get my phone out of my pocket, and before I could even get my phone out of my pocket, somebody else has stopped to pick me up. So I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even have time to do that. So you can get picked up really fast in New Zealand, even on dirt roads. It's just a thing, right? But I don't seem to be having much luck. And I'm like, okay, I need to start mixing things up. Now, here is a thing, and I encourage everybody to do this. Just follow this, okay? If you're not having any success in making progress on your goal, change something. Change anything. It does not matter, but change something. Now, you can persevere. You can do exactly what you're doing, right? And you might get to the outcome that you're looking for. I'm not going to discredit the powers of perseverance. But to me, it makes much better sense to just test a whole different bunch of options and just see which one works. Like I'd rather go through that testing process and like learn fast, test ideas really quickly, and then if one of them hits, awesome, nice work, move on. You give 10 of them a quick try, and let's say 3 of them work, awesome, nice work. You just found 3 different solutions. So my way of change is I decide to go cross back over to where the bridge is and use the traffic, the on-ramp traffic. Now, before I talk about what that looks like, here is an observation that I've had numerous times. And I don't know whether it's just people are, I don't know, I'm catching them in candid moments or not, but people when they're driving, when they stop at lights, I'm going to say the vast majority of people look fucking miserable. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but people look like they're just having the worst time out there. I can't understand it. Honestly, the amount of times I would look at a driver and just think, man, you look like you're having the worst day ever. And then it's the next person, and then it's the next person, and then it's the next person. Like, come on, man. There's more to life than just feeling miserable. And I don't know, wearing what's on your sleeve, or maybe that's just like a candid moment that people are having in their own car. I don't know. But yeah, it was a definite observation, and like it's not even the first time I've seen that either. Like I see it so many times, and people just I don't know, man. I'm like, fuck, there's just so much more to life than feeling like that all the time, or feeling like you're battling in and with life. Anywho, the other thing I noticed as well is how many people drive and have their cell phones up, on their face, or do a thing which is probably worse, in that they are trying to hide their cell phone. Cell phone, that can tell, like that just aged me. Smartphone probably did the same thing. Their phone down below the dashboard or the side of the driver's door window, as if to like discreetly hide it, but they're bending over looking at their phone and they're barely looking at the road. I'm like, shit, if you're going to go through all that effort, you may as well stick the phone up into the windscreen, and then at least you can like use your peripheral vision to look at the road as well. Put your phone down, folks. It's not worth it. I have to remind myself about this all the time as well, by the way. I ain't no saint. So yes, so those two observations, side of the road. I get to the Melling Bridge, the other side, and, within 4 cars, so in 4 cars, the traffic lights switch over once. First 3 cars go through. On the fourth car stops, guy winds his window down. He goes, bro, this English guy, Pommy guy, he goes, bro, I'm really sorry, man. I would pick you up, but I'm just going around the corner. And I said, man, that's cool. Thanks for your honesty, and thanks for letting me know as well. It's really nice when people do that. Like, hey, I would pick you up, but a car's full, or I'd pick you up, but like I'm literally just going across the road, that kind of thing. And it's nice to know that people would spend their energy on you to let you know that. So straight away, I know, okay, I'm glad I made this change. So this change is gonna work out. Just from that one conversation, that one bit of feedback validated my decision to make that change. So I'm there for maybe 2 more minutes, and then Chuck pulls up. Now, here's an interesting thing I found is that I cannot recall if any of the drivers, and I've been picked up, let's say 100 times, I don't know if I've had a person of Indian origin or subcontinent pick me up before. I just can't recall if I have. And so in my mind, I've created this bias that Indian people don't pick up hitchhikers. I guess it was supported by that evidence. I don't know. Lo and behold, window comes down. Guy goes, oh, where you going, bro? And I said, oh, up a hut. And he said, oh, cool, jump in. So there we go. So I jump in his truck, and I won't mention his name. I better mix his name up. We'll call him Ash, eh? And so Ash is doing some work, and he and I, it's quite a cool conversation that we have actually, because I have to work a little bit harder to get him to open up, which I kind of like the challenge. I like creating an environment where a person feels free to speak. I like contributing to that safe environment. And sometimes people don't want to talk, and that's cool. But you'd be amazed at how many people do want to talk once they feel that they're in a safe environment. And so Ash drives us must be about 20 minutes up the road. And in that time, we go from me asking questions and him saying, yep, no, yep, to me asking a question and then him just talking and talking. And yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. I won't share what we talked about, but it was just cool being able to help in that way. That was cool. So Ash drops me off in a place called Totara Park, which is effectively up a hut. And I do something I haven't done ever. And I walk down the Hutt River, which is just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. New Zealand is such a crazy place. State Highway 2, 10 meters off that, beautiful countryside, like a river that flows through, and just like it's like ensconced. Is that the word I'm looking for? Ensconced in bush, native bush. That's amazing, man. That is amazing. All of that, and I ended up taking a photo of a fence. The fence that I found particularly cool as well. I do also pick up when I go for a little bit of a walk because I'm going to get up to. I'm desperate for a pie. I haven't eaten in the morning, and I'm making pretty good progress. It's about 10 a.m. And so I think, okay, let's stop over and grab a pie from the service station. As I'm walking there, I walk past this place called the Rimataka Pub. I don't know what the official name is, mate. We'll just call it the Rimataka Pub. But I look at it, and as soon as I look at it, it reminds me of one of my besties, Ange, who grew up in that area. And I look at it, I could see the door open. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to see if I can get in there and have a pint. Have a pint of beer, celebrate the effort. I'll go get this. I'll go get this pie first. So I do, and I find this beautiful. Somebody's left it. It looks like they've thrown it or something. It's a woven. They've taken flax and they've woven it into a fan, and it's dope. So I put that in my bag, and I carry on walking down the street, get my pie, head back, and go into the Rimataka Pub. It's dead in there. A couple of people playing pokies. But other than that, it's just me. So, order myself a beer and I go and stand outside the back. There's a deck that overlooks the valley, or part of the valley, and the river that flows through it. I mean, this is just amazing. It's just unbelievable. So I go and enjoy my pint there. I had this little moment as well where I can see quite far off into the distance, there's a family that pull up, and there must be about 2 or 3 of these kids, and one of them's outside the car feeding ducks with whatever she's feeding them. and then she's kind of not registering that more and more of these ducks are joining, and then she starts, like, when she does clock what's happening, she starts kind of getting scared because there's a lot of ducks, man. I don't know, at least 25, 30 ducks surrounding her, and she must be all of 7 years old. I don't know. But she starts, feeding the ducks, and they're kind of getting more and more aggressive. And I could see what was going to happen, but she's way too far away for me to shout out. But in my mind, I'm going, "Don't turn your back on them, man! Don't turn your back on them." And sure enough, she turns her back on these ducks, and then she starts running. I shouldn't laugh, but it was just a funny thing to see. Funny thing to see, like all these ducks, like basically chasing this poor girl around while she's like, Good on her mum for coming out and saving the day as well. Nice work, mum. With a child under the arm as well. She did exceptionally well. So I finished at the Rimataka Pub, finished my pint, and carried on down the road. And I had to walk about 200 meters, because that road's it's a straight one, and it's a residential area as well. It's got a higher speed limit. It's probably like 70 kilometers, it must be about 70 k's. So the traffic, you got a good line of sight, and it means the cars are going to see you for a long enough period of time to make an assessment of me and determine whether they're going to pull over or not. Now, that story about Ash aside, when I started hitchhiking, I was reasonably adamant that I knew the kind of people that would pick me up and the kind of people that would not pick me up. In my mind, a lady driving on her own would not pick up a hitchhiker. A lady with children would not pick up a hitchhiker. Grandmothers with moko in the back, they wouldn't pick up hitchhikers. I've been proven wrong on all of those lots. And I'm not talking 1 or 2 or 5. I'm more than that, easily more than that, where I've had a solo female driver or a solo female driver with a small child in the back, whatever. That's happened heaps. Goes to show, right? So I get picked up by Steph? I believe it's Steph. Steph or Stacey? We'll go with Steph. So Steph picks me up, and her son, her little boy, Sam, is in the back as well. She's off to work. And I jump in the car and I thought, man, obviously I'm always thankful when someone picks me up, and I always let them know, like, I am so thankful that you picked me up, because I am. I'm genuinely thankful. Like, if I could give this to you, this is how I'm going to express it. I really appreciate the fact that you stopped what you were doing to help me out on the side of the road. So I jump in the car, and then we're off about maybe 10, 15 seconds. And then she says, yeah, I've never picked up a hitchhiker before. And so I always ask, oh, so why did you do it? Because she's driving on her own with her little boy in the back of the car, and she's just suddenly picked up this guy on the side of the road, right? And she said, well, I looked at you, and you looked friendly, and you looked innocent enough. So I thought, yeah, I'll do it. Oh man, that's cool. I love the fact that I was putting out positivity. She caught it, and then she's running with it now. So she drives me up to a place called Timarua. There's actually a dairy near there across the road. I've never been to the Speedway still, but Timarua Speedway's in that area. And there's a dairy, a convenience store, like 30 meters down the road, that kind of thing. So I get off there, and although the traffic there is a little bit fast, it's probably about 80k speed limit going into 100, I feel reasonably confident that I'm going to get picked up just because of the layout of the land. Nice wide road. There's a long area that cars can pull over, that kind of thing. And man, once again, I'm there for all of 5 minutes max when this blue Skoda pulls up, and I open the door, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. And then I meet Roy. Man, thanks, Roy. Roy is just what an awesome person to hang out with. So cool. So cool. Roy is, I can't remember what Roy's doing. Roy's got something to do with Staglands, but Roy is just going for a drive. He's decided he's just going to go for a drive and, just hang out a bit. And Roy, going for his drive, just happens to pick up Eddie, who's hitchhiking. And so when he picks me up, man, we just get along like a house on fire, It's really cool. Roy asks where I'm going, so I explain myself, and he says, oh, cool, I'll take you to Lake Ferry then, and then, I can take you onwards. I'm like, holy shit, man. That's really cool. I'm going to get to like the bit that I need to get to, plus this bit that I really want to go to in Lake Ferry, which is, as I mentioned, it's out of the way. So that's cool, man. So Roy and I do that. Roy takes me over to Featherston first, which is on the other side of the Rumataka Hill. There's no walking the Rumataka Hill, not the way that I'm going. There maybe is some other way, but the way I'm going, you're going over the hill and you're going in a car, or like some crazy people doing on like push bikes, but that seems a bit insane. And I'm a high risk individual, but I wouldn't do that. It seems quite tiring too, to be fair. So we get over to Featherston and, load up with some water. I'm like, man, when we get there, bro, I'd love to buy you lunch and, let's grab a pint, just hang out. Cool. And so off we go. And Roy's story is just incredible. Like, everybody's got a story, man. Everybody has a story. You can't have lived, like, as soon as you get to, I don't know, 20, 15, like, you've lived some part of a life, right? Depending on how much you've been able to pack into it. Roy is 63, I think. So, imagine that's 63 years of just, this guy's been living life. He was a drag queen, and his name was Rose Twildo the Duchess. Rosie Twildo the Duchess. And apparently he was quite a feature on Cuba Street, and he's got some cool ass stories too. Cool ass stories about just like famous people, or, quote unquote, hanging out with famous people, and just some of the activities and just laughs, and like what it took for him to dress and drag, and just some really cool shit going on. Really cool. So he and I just have a good laugh and have a couple of, we actually have more than a couple of deep and meaningfuls as well, which I love. I absolutely love it. We get out to Lake Ferry, Lake Ferry is at the end of a series of like roads, but it's just so out there from a hitchhiker's perspective that you know you. I think getting there, you'll be lucky to get there, but getting out, people will realize that you've just come from this pub, which my mate had told me about. Ali, my mate, who I'm probably going to mention again later on, actually. So Ali's told me about this pub because he and his wife used to spend quite a bit of time over in Lake Ferry. Man, what a beautiful place! It's just, it must be only maybe, I don't know, like it's probably really only 40 or 50 Ks, like as the crow flies from our place, maybe more. I suck at distance a wee bit, but because it's you got to go over this hill and just like get your way there, it's a lot longer in terms of getting in by car. So we get there and there's quite a few people there actually. When I say quite a few, there's maybe 10 to 15 people at this pub, all having lunch. And we get there, and Roy shouts me lunch, which is super cool. We get what they call the world famous fish and chips. Everyone's got a world famous fish and chips, though. If you don't have a world famous fish and chips in your pub, you've just missed a branding opportunity there. So, we sink a pint, eat our lunch, delicious piece of fish, nice chips, and then we go for a walk. And Roy's been around the area quite a bit. So he shows, we go for a walk down on the beach and, hang around, and he gives me a little bit of a guided tour of Cape Palliser, I think it is, and this township that's over there, and like all these other cool things he just describes. And you can't swim there; it's like real bad for swimming. You can fish there apparently, which we see a few fishermen, a few people out there surfing as well. These guys are crazy. And so we hang out at Lake Ferry for about an hour or so, and then make the call to head back. And so we do. And Roy drives us back to, instead of going to Featherston, we go through Martinborough. Martinborough is a bit of a boutique town. It's got like the square that's reasonably famous, and it has a fair, the Martinborough Fair, that everybody knows. I've never been. Another one of those things, kind of got to get my shit sorted and go to that. But we are just driving and chatting away the whole time. Getting into some cool as in quite deep topics, but also just a lot of light, fun stuff as well. Roy does this, he is protesting against the Russian occupation of Ukraine. And he has, every Wednesday at the Russian embassy, himself and I think he was saying 21 others, a very regular group, they protest there for an hour a week, and they're only kind of allowed to go there for an hour a week because the embassy has apparently complained to the police and said, right, you can do it, but this is how much you can do it for. Like, oh, that's cool. So Wednesday, 1:00, expect to see Roy, 21 people, and hopefully myself there as well, because I did say I'm going to go there. And I really do. I'm looking forward to protesting against this, because it's a really shit situation over there. I don't want to politicize this, but man, I don't know how the hell people can blow other people up. That's fucked up. Nasty. But yeah, so I will be there to protest that situation at the Russian embassy in a few days, if not next week. Roy takes me to a town called Pornatahi. Now, town is the wrong word. I don't recall seeing any buildings or anything, but on a map it says Pornatahi. That's the area. I think that's the best place that he should drop me off, because I asked him, can you drop me off at this place? Not realizing that I should have got myself put on the other side, a little bit further away, to get to my final destination. So where he drops me off is literally just a intersection that is a rural intersection. You don't really have any business being out there. Like, if you're hitchhiking, it's like, why are you here? What did you do to get dropped off here? what have you done? And so, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna take this and I'll make something of it. So I'm there, but once again, I'm there not very long, and let's say 10 minutes. Only two cars come past me in that time, but in that time, I get the second car to stop, or the second car stops, and then it's like we're on again. We're absolutely on again. I get picked up by a guy called Wayne, who takes me about 200 meters up the road too. Now, I want to get this right. Area called Ahiaruhe, which is a road that takes you to Stonehenge, Aotearoa. So if you didn't know this, there's a Stonehenge, or a version of Stonehenge that's more appropriate to the Southern Hemisphere in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and it is in this area called Ahiaruhe, which is about 2 minutes from where I am. I've already been there with Debbie and the kids before. I don't really need to go again. I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to go the first time. It just seemed like a bit of a knockoff. But anyway, it's there. It is what it is. And since then, I've become a bit more of a astronomy nerd, so I quite like the whole celestial aspect to it. But I don't go up to Stonehenge this time. I stand on the side of the road, and man, once again, the showers start to come, and it looks like it's going to rain. I'm not only I'm super close to where I'm meant to be. I'm 6 minutes drive from Longbush Estate, which is where the party is going to be. I'm 6 minutes drive from there. But I can't walk it because the road itself it's that kind of road where it's really easy for drivers to not see you if you're walking on the side of the road and just collect your sorry ass as they go through, with a wing mirror or the bonnet if you're not careful. So I'm not going to walk it. I know that much. So all right, I'll wait here, and I put out this post in our group chat. Can someone come pick me up? Any pickups? If you're this far away, pick me up on your way through. I send it, and about, less than 20 seconds, I don't know, a very, very short amount of time later, a car goes to turn into that area, but then they stops and looks at me and he goes, "Oh, where are you off to?" And I said, I'm literally just going down to Longbush. He's like, "Oh, cool, I'll take you." I was like, "Awesome, man." So I get in the car and change this one. His name's John. So John picks me up, and I don't know if this is the theme for the day, but John's got a can of Double Brown, which is a lager, in his hand, and he's got a box of beers beside, where I'm just about to sit. And I look at him like, nah, John's solid. John looks like he's had two at the most. Once again, not encouraging anybody to get into a car with a drunk driver. You make your own choices in life. I make my choice. I jump in the car. Fucking glad I did too. Because John goes, "Do you want a beer, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." I thought you'd never ask. So I crack open a can of Double Brown, which is, in terms of what should we call it? Like, there's upper class beers, right? There's real premium beers out there. And Double Brown is probably at the very opposite end of that spectrum. But when you're out on the road and you're hitchhiking and you're so close to your destination and you just have all these experiences packed into the last, 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it's been, man, a beer is just a grand idea. So I sink this Double Brown with John as we're driving, and he actually takes me further than where he was going to. He was going to drop me off at this intersection in Longbush, and then I still would have had to walk about, let's say, about 10, 15 minutes. But then I said, "Oh man, I'm literally 3 or 4 minutes away from where we're going to, and he's like, "Oh man, cool, I can take you. That's easy enough." So we head down the like the open road, and yeah, man, I get there. With record time, like so much time to spare. I get to Longbush Estate, which is where Ross is going to be having his 40th birthday party. And when I arrive, there, the driveway. I had to take this video of this driveway where you know how like often you see trees overhanging, and it's like the canopy of the trees creates the tunnel that you're going to go down, and it creates that kind of effect. And I don't know, it's just a really cool thing to walk down. And the green, the colors of the green, the different shades of green just added to it as well. It's like a bit of a moment. Like, this is prodigal son returns kind of stuff. And when I get down there, I can hear lots of laughter, and I look over, and then as I walk, and I see my beautiful wife, Debbie, and I see a few of our other friends. I see Juddy, Ange, Sean and Rosa are there, and then Kiara is there as well in the car. And man, you can tell straight away, like, without a shadow of doubt, you can tell that it's going to be a big weekend. Just like, oh, and Nikki's there too. Sorry, Nikki. Just looking around, and there's some usual suspects there, and they're all early. Party that like the birthday boy and Anna haven't even turned up yet. They're still on their way, but just knowing that group is there to start with, yeah, it's the signs are imminent for a big night. So yes, that's how I got to Longbush, and shit, what happened after that? Such a blur. Oh, that's right. So Ross and Anna end up turning up. Not that late after us, to be fair, but Ross and Anna turn up, and we start having a look around the home, and it is an estate, like it's a stately mansion kind of place. I don't know how many bedrooms there are, how many people it sleeps, but it's a lot. It's this beautiful home, tennis courts. It's got like this small island in the back of the section with this little bridge that goes to it. It's got this swimming pool that is, as far as home swimming pools go, is the perfect length. And that, the whole house is just packed full of mod cons. As people start to arrive, each time somebody arrives to a party, especially one that is in a remote location, they bring their energy, right? They bring a fresh energy, a fresh inquisitiveness as well. Like, what's going to happen? Where we're going to go? Like, what does the house look like? All of that kind of thing. And so that keeps happening over the course of 2 days, because there's quite a large group of people that make it on the Friday, and then there's another like second wave of people that come in on the Saturday. And so each time a person or people come and arrive, they're bringing with them new energy and new everything, right? So it is such a, what's the word I want to use? It's a cool ass time that's stretched out over a long period, partly because of that. And you're having fun with friends who are essentially family. We've been in this game for 40, 42, 43, 38 years, whatever it might look like. So, I'm not going to suggest we've had the experiences that an 80-year-old has had, but we're at the stage of our lives where you look around at these people, and these are the people that you are living your life with, and you're happy to live your life alongside these people. They're part of the fabric of who you are now. And so looking around, it's really easy to feel loved and to love the people within that environment. It's also got a little bit of a tinge of sadness as well, if I'm honest. And the tinge of sadness, for me anyway, and I know a couple of other people are thinking it as well. We don't really talk about it, but the tinge of sadness is that around 2 years ago, and I know I've talked about this previously, but around 2 years ago, one of our brothers killed himself, committed suicide, and that act is as destructive as it was, and as difficult as it was, I've often talked about, some of the silver linings that came out of that, and the impact that that had on our whole sphere of people was deep and profound and so far long lasting, where it has drawn us all together. I can't even say a little bit more. It's drawn us together quite a lot. Quite a lot, I think. Not encouraging anybody to go do the thing that he did. Like, if you can get this other outcome without having to go through that process, great. But what I have noticed is our group is so much tighter than it used to be. Some classic examples are, we always tell each other that we love them. Always. I'll be on the phone, I'll say, I love you back, hugs all the time. And that, like, knowing that was there, having that experience where we're at the house and, it's hugs and loves and everything else is dope. But the tinge of sadness was, I know why that's happening as well. And if there was anybody that should have been at this party, it should have been our brother. It should have been him. Because he would have he would have added so much. He would have added so much life. The irony. And so on the first night, I kind of thought about it a couple of times. Oh, actually, I'll finish this bit. So on the first night, I think about it a couple of times. And the second night, I go to say to Ross, because I'd spoken to Ross's brother over in Aussie as well, and had a couple of words that I need to pass on to Ross for his birthday. So I said to Ross, right, here's two things. Here's some words from your brother over in Aussie, and then I said it to him, and then I said, and I'm really sorry that our other brother's not here. And I wanted to say more, but I just found myself weeping up, getting quite teary. And this is when there's a whole bunch of people around. And I really don't want to. I don't actually feel like crying right now. I don't mind crying. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to cry when I want to cry. I'll do it. Absolutely. I don't have any problems with that. There are just some times where I think, I just don't want to. I just don't want to have the negative dump of emotion with crying right now. I'll wait. If I want to cry later, cool, I'll do it then. But I just felt like, and that occasion, it was so positive. There's all the people. It's 40th birthday. I don't want to be something like, bawling my eyes out and shit. I've done that. I can do that, and I don't want to do it right now. Yeah. So that was the tinge of sadness. The bit that I was going to talk about as well was we had. We spent this time on this little island. So Debbie was feeling a little bit, just a bit overwhelmed with, the sense of anxiety that can get brought on. And so she asked if we can go for a walk. I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And so what started off as a walk with two people ended up having, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 of us going for a walk around the section. Pitch black, no one knew where we were going. We were following Andrew, I think it was. We were fully just walking off into the bush. We might have never have come back. But it was fun, don't get me wrong. But we ended up kind of circling back, and then we went over to that small island that I talked about, and it was such a cool moment. It was such a cool moment because there we are in this tiny little island that might be... let's say 20 meters across. Yeah. 20-meter diameter. Let's say that, with this big tree in the middle too, and this cute little bridge that gets over it. And so we're all standing there and we're, drinking and just chatting away. Everyone's just talking, and it starts to lightly shower as well. It's just all adding layers to this moment. And there's also people there that aren't often out in that situation. Like Anna is out there as well. Anna Duncan, shout out Anna. And so just this group, this mix that we've got and that environment, with the light rain and all the rest, it was just so cool. It was such a cool time. And then I think one of the guys, Juddy, went over and grabbed like the box, came back with a chili bin full of those. And so we're all just hanging out, just completely disconnected from everything else and just being in each other's company, being in each other's presence. So that was cool. I'm glad I took a couple of photos of it as well. And one thing I love about photos is that it just can re-trigger memories at times. And that's a memory I want to have. I definitely want to hold on to that one, that feeling of being disconnected from everything else in the world, but being connected to the people that I was with at that point in time. Pardon me. So we rolled on to Saturday. Saturday was a bit of a big day, especially after Friday. The first night's always the biggest night. Like if ever you're going out for 2 nights and everybody's going to assemble in a place, don't kid yourself, man. That first night is going to be absolutely brutal. That first night's always a biggie. But we got into the second day, and Saturday was cool. Fresh bodies, fresh energy, lots of people jumping in the pool, lots of laughs, lots of games. Speaking of games, we played this game. So one of my mates, one of the brothers, Barry, he and I had organized this game where we were going to hide these. I'll show you. If you're watching on video, stand by. All right. So if you can see this, great. If you can't see this thing that I'm holding, right now I'm holding this laminated card, and it is a guy doing aqua fitness. Now, the guy is holding onto a couple of dumbbells, those aqua fitness dumbbells, and he just looks like he's having the best time too. He's having a great time in the water. He's got this very distinguished, sizable tattoo across his shoulder, his left shoulder. Now, this guy in this image is from a aqua fitness poster that I saw when I went swimming in fielding in Palmerston North, about 2 hours away. And I walked past this poster and I saw this guy, this picture, and I stopped because he is a dead ringer. A dead ringer for our mate Ali, the guy who told me about Lake Ferry. He is a spitting image of our mate. And so not only did I take a photo, but I ended up emailing the sports complex and I said, hey, look, you've got that poster up there. Can you send me a digital copy of it? And so they did. And then about a year or two later, like fast forward to me contacting Barry, and I said, bro, we should do like a lucky dip or treasure hunt where we hide all of these pictures of Ali around the property and people have to find them. Barry takes the idea and adds layers to it by laminating the thing in the first instance. Once you laminate something, man, this is serious. Like you're talking pro league now. So he laminates his cards, but he also starts writing gifts on the back of them so that when you find a card, you also get the gift that's on the back of the card. And so we have 21 of these cards, and they have all sorts of random toys in them, from, let's say, number 19, win Doritos, to night vision goggles, or those big spongy dice, just random ass things. There's a thing that we don't know what it's called, so it's called a cock grabber. By the way, if you're like listening to this with kids, you probably shouldn't be. Hopefully the the theme of what I've been talking about over the last nearly year long has suggested that this may not always be appropriate for kids. Anyway, one of them's a cock grabber, and there's just a whole bunch of these random toys. But what we do is we gather the family together, we gather everybody there, and we do this treasure hunt where everybody has 10 minutes and they've got to go and find all 21 of these little cards that we've hidden around. And then after that, everybody will reconvene back in the lounge where Jodie's lit a fire. So it's a beautiful scene. It looks like literally like something out of Christmas. And then when they redeem their card, Ali will be there like Santa with these bags of gifts, dishing them back out to whoever's won that prize. It's a gold experience. It is so much fun. So much fun. And before they even start, we have this random thing where, you know those Where's Wally pictures? Like you got to find Wally and amongst a whole bunch of other Wally looking things. Except Barry calls it Where's Wali? In honor of our mate Ali. Oh man, I love that. I don't just love the game itself was dope. It was so much fun, but also the amount of laughs that Barry and I had in creating that game, well worth the effort. I'd recommend it to anybody. Put that in your adult games to do, because honestly, it's like watching little kids. They're all running around the house and they're looking for these cards. It was so much fun. So much fun. Anyway, all good. So we did that, and man, that's pretty much like outside of that. There's the cake. We take this cool video of the cake. Ross blowing out the candles and everything else, and everyone behind him, and just lots of photos to mark the occasion and to capture the moments as well. Probably drink too much alcohol, truth be told. I think we could have shed at least 30 to 40% of the booze off. But we did well. We did bloody well. And then we wrapped up. Next morning, wake up, and I feel like Anna's cleaned the whole estate on her own somehow while we've all been asleep. Like the place is really clean. And then, we kind of meander in, start to have breakfast, that kind of thing, pack your stuff, and then it's ready to go. The ride home was horrible. I just hated it. But that's what happens when you're hungover. So just remember that, kids. Oh, there's something else I should note as well, is that when you get older, you start to have there's a day one hangover, right? So you wake up in the morning the following day and you're like, oh man, I feel like I don't feel so great. But for some reason now that hangover can stretch over into the next day. And you wake up, you're like, what the hell's going on? I don't even feel great anymore. I still feel like I'm hungover. So there's a life lesson for you folks. Buried in there somewhere. I don't know what it is, but something to do with alcohol and hangovers. Let me know what you think when you stumble across it. All good. Man, that is it. That wraps up our show for today. I had so much fun over the weekend. I cannot thank everybody enough for all that they brought to Ross's birthday. Happy birthday, Ross. I love you, brother. I love that we're spending our lives together as well. You mean so much to so many people, bro. You really do. You're the man. Oh, he also has the very distinguished honor in my books. He is the best parent I know. Put that in your pipe. He's the best parent I know. Awesome. Okay. So just a reminder, don't bother clicking follow or subscribe. Avoid doing that thing from now, okay? There's some reverse psychology in play. But what you should do is, if you are looking at designing or at least living a life that you love, then look in the show notes and there's a link to book in time with me. Click that link, follow the simple steps, and let's catch up. I absolutely love life. I understand what it takes to have this mindset and to unlock a life that I want to live. And I know how to coach other people into doing this as well. So if you want to live a life so that you love, so that you love life more, then please click on that link in the show notes and let's catch up. All right, until then, ka kite, which means bye for now. All right, see you soon.